Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is going to be my review for Gotham, Season 1, Episode 10, Lovecraft. And this episode really did what I wanted to do, and I was definitely really looking forward to it because of last week's episode, which was a huge, vast improvement from the rest of the season. A very surprising episode last week, and I was definitely really looking forward to this. And this episode really did what it needed to do. It was a good mid-season finale. I know some people are criticizing it. I know some people are saying that they wish some things were resolved. First of all, I do have one complaint with this episode, but it honestly is not even a complaint because I didn't really care about it. We didn't see anything of the Barbara plot. Like, the whole thing we got with the Barbara plot last week, nothing of that in this episode, which honestly was fine because we're going to find that out in the mid-season, which is fine. The show's a very slow-paced show, and I like that because the problem with the show in the beginning was it was too fast-paced, and now that it's kind of slowed things down, I like that. And this episode really focused on one plot, and it worked really well. And the thing I love about this episode was it really showed what I wanted to, which was a lot of Selena and Bruce, which was, as I said, the best part of the show. And it also gave us some really good clues as to what the second half of the season is going to be about. So let's just get to this episode because I overall really enjoyed it. So right away, the episode's really crazy because we go to Wayne Manor and we see this woman lurking on the grounds. The worker tells her she's in the wrong place, but she says she's where she needs to be. She jumps the guy and kills him. Two more men approach, and she tells them to open him. They cut the guy open. She smears some of his blood on her forehead, and Bruce is up high on the rails of a stairway, balancing precariously as Selena's tutoring him on balance. And, of course, a step could send them plummeting. And she tells him to come to the Midtown Bridge and try balancing there. And I honestly, I love their friendship. I really do. It's adorable, it's fun to watch, and it's the best part of the show. It really is. Best character on the show, as I said, Selena Kyle. By far best character. He's having to go since it's a common makeout spot, and Selena asks why he's studying his parents' murder. And he says he wants to know why. And she says things like that happen. She says there is really no why. I mean, I understand Bruce's point, but I understand her point as well. First of all, there is always a motive to why a killer kills someone. To Selena's credit, though, there really is no why. Some people just do it to do it. I mean, this guy could have been crazy for all we know. So she again asks if he wants to kiss her, and he says he would like to, but thinks she has an ulterior motive. And she tells him he thinks too much, and she says she's just trying to be nice, but he says that she's not nice. And I thought this was interesting what he says. He said that she's a good person, but isn't nice. And she just says some "screw you, orphan," and told him to climb the bridge on his own. And then a killer chick, the killer girl that just came in, she rings the bell, tells Alfred her car ran off the road. She asks Alfred to call an ambulance, but doesn't see an injury. The woman makes eyes at the kids. Alfred sees her making eyes at the kids and tells them to run. He's just like, run! And Alfred is just like badass in this episode. Like, awesome job from the guy that plays Alfred. I mean, he really was awesome in this. So they run away, and Alfred engaged in a fist fight with the woman. The kids head into a closet. The woman hands the fight with Alfred over to one of her guys and chases the kids. So she opens the closet, but they're not there. And the closet has a secret passageway to the servants' wing. And Alfred beats on his attack with a stick, and Selena and Bruce race out to the grounds, but then he tells her he can't leave Alfred. She tells him to come on. Alfred shoots at the guy. Selena reminds him Alfred told him to run. She takes off. The attackers around the house, and he follows after her. So Alfred swaps shots with one of the killers and takes him down, and he doesn't see the boy or girl and screams out for Bruce. And Jim tells Alfred that the police haven't found the kids or the woman, and he has 50 cops in the woods. And Alfred tells them they are trained killers that Selena brought to his door. And Harvey shows up and tells Alfred good shooting with the guy he took down. And Harvey asks Jim what the hell is going on with Selena and Jim, with Selena. And Jim tells him that she saw the Wayne's killer. And that's why, she's here. So Jim says Harvey didn't threaten Lovecraft with the witness because they pretty much think that Lovecraft's the guy that did it. And Alfred demands to know how they knew she was at Wayne Manor. And Alfred brushes off his gunshot wound at a scrape and yells at them to focus on finding Bruce. And Jim says Selena's a city kid, and that's where she took Bruce, was the city. And Jim tells Harvey to work the streets and says he's going to get Lovecraft to call off the contract. Alfred says he'll come with Harvey, but who admits he's a handy for a valet. And Alfred corrects him and says he's a butler. So then we go to the kids, and a lot of the episode focused on the kids, and I really like that. So they go to an industrial area across the river from the city, and Bruce tells her that they should go back, and he thinks the assassins were there for her, but she thinks it's his investigation that has him gunning for him. And she tells him to cheer up and says they lost the killer. She says she'll get him hidden safely into the city, and they find a phone, and he thanks her for their help, and she says she's just trying to be nice. They trudge on toward the waterfront, and the city. And then we see Oswald, and this was extremely crazy what's going on here. There's no major development with his plot that too much in this episode, but there is stuff with Oswald, which I did like. So, Oswald is driving to Falcone's, and the boss asks how Maroney knew where his money was, and Oswald says he could have just called to ask him that, and Falcone asks again of how Maroney knew where he kept it, and Oswald tells him Maroney didn't rob the army, and Falcone asks why he didn't warn him, and Falcone asks who it was, and how they knew about his money, and then Lysa comes in with a tea tray and then sees Oswald and goes back out, because of course, she knows that Oswald's on to her. She knows that, she kept that promise to him and she's going to keep it, because she doesn't want to die, obviously. So Oswald tells him he has a mole and says that's something with art that's close to him, and Falcone says Oswald hates Fish, so we can't trust what he says about it, and Falcone says Fish has plenty of money from him, and isn't a threat, and Oswald says he'll find the mole, and he doesn't doubt the person works for Fish. He tells Oswald to bring truth, and Gabriel asks Oswald why he didn't just tell Falcone that Lysa's the one who betrayed him, and Oswald says she's just a time bomb, and they need to just wait, and Jim can't find, and that was basically all we really see of Oswald. We don't see too much of him in this episode, which honestly was fine, because it's really building up to what we're getting to here, which is basically Oswald starting to, he's working with Falcone still, and we're seeing that, he now knows that Lysa's the one that betrayed him, and basically, we know what's going to happen there. So, shit's going to go down in that plot, definitely. But we don't really see anything else with that in this episode. So, Jim can't find Lovecraft, and he confronts Dent, demanding to know how they knew about her witness. And Dent says he didn't say the name out loud, and he says he did tell some people that Jim was the one that found the witness, and he offers Jim 2 possible addresses where Lovecraft keeps home for his mistresses. And Jim threatens him if anything happens to the kid and storms out. He says this is on you if this happens, and that was definitely very crazy. So Harvey brings in one of Selena's street kid buddies, who is Kyle Massey, which was really nostalgic for me, because that brought me back to the days of, like, Corey in the House and That's So Raven. Great shows, by the way, but still, I mean, that really brought me back. I gotta say, there are certain things that just bring me back, and that was one of them, okay? Just saying. So, he's not talking for whatever reason. By the way, he did a very good job. He had a very small scene, but he did a very good job in this episode. And Alfred hands him $100. The kid says he doesn't know where she lives, but says her fence will know. He says he knows who would know, and Alfred hands over more money. And Harvey says he can beat the answers out of him for free. The kid says Fish runs all the fences in Gotham, and basically that's what they need to know. So Falcone shoots one of his cronies, Banyan, at the lunch table, and Fish and the others are surprised, and Falcone explains that he loved the guy, but he was supposed to guard the armory, and yet was robbed. And he tells them whoever else was involved will soon wish for a quick death like Banyan got, and he tells them they will each get 25% more in tariffs until the reserves are back up, and some complain, but Fish takes his side and says they are a family and need to trust each other. They dine with Banyan, still dead at the table, and Fish smiles at her boss. However, what she doesn't know is that he knows that she betrayed him. He knows that she has Lysa and everything, and he knows that she's not to be trusted. So, I think that definitely is going to be very interesting to see what happens there. So, Bruce runs up to the payphone and says he has no coins. She doesn't either, and asks why Alfred matters so much since he's just a butler. And I really like this scene because, again, why does he matter so much? He's just a butler to her. But he says that he's his family, and he starts to dial, and she backs up. She says the bad guys were there for her, not him, and she says she was just playing with him earlier. He tells her it was cruel, and she says she's not nice like him. She says she only told him he might be the target so they could hang out longer. She says it's been cool and says she's going to disappear. He tells her he needs her to come back home with him so she can testify. She tells him that she was never that was never going to happen, and she basically just tells him to grow up. So she takes off of a fire escape very abruptly. He's like, what the hell just happened? Like, I myself is like, what what the hell? Like, one second she's, like, best friends with him and wants to kiss him. The next moment she's like, see you later? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So he's chasing after her, but then she jumps from one building to another with ease, and he can't work up the nerve to follow. He tries again, she tells him not to because he won't make it. He jumps and lands right on the edge and is about to fall until she grabs his hand. She tells him he's crazy. He asks her not to run off again since he's out of breath. She says he earned it, can hang out, but has to do what she says since they're in her world now. So one street kid takes particular notice of them, and Bruce asks Selena why he can't call Alfred or Jim, and she says they have to disappear like smoke, and smoke doesn't make phone calls. And she takes him to the flea and says it's like the mall for street kids. So Butch tells Fish that Falcone's making him nervous, and she says he doesn't know it was them, and says to reach out to the other guys that are angry about the tariff increase, and work to get them on their side when she makes a move. So Harvey shows up to ask Fish about Selena, and Alfred's with him, and Butch says they don't know and that Fish is busy. And Alfred gets rough with Butch, and he's literally like, where is Fish? Like, that was a crazy scene. And she comes in, asks what the fuss is about, and Harvey tells her they're looking for, as he calls it, Cat, but I'm going to say Selena, and says professional killers are looking for her. She asks if the Lovecraft witness that supposedly saw the wing killer, she laughs and asks why she would help him find Selena, and Alfred tells her that Selena has Bruce with her and introduces himself. He asks for her help, and Fish says that conflicts with her personal interests. And Alfred tells her she has an inquilant gaze and says he doesn't think she would let petty self-interest outweigh honor and compassion. And she agrees to make some calls, but tells him to remember this kindness, which she doesn't have much of. She doesn't really have that much of a heart, but we have seen that there are things that she does care about. So I like seeing that, but my question is it really genuine or not? A lot of people have said they want Alfred and Fish to be in a relationship. I could see that happening, but Alfred is not the kind of guy that would be with someone like Fish. Like, Alfred's just too nice of a guy to be with Fish. So Selena gets Bruce some new clothes that look more street, and then we see Ivy, who we have not seen since episode 1. If you remember Ivy, she was the girl that, Jim thought was the killer of Bruce's parents. He killed that guy, and we actually catch up with her. And I really like this because we have not seen this girl since episode 1, and it was really great to see her in this episode because it showed the impact that what's happened on her. I mean, people could say we haven't had any build-up to it, but we have, because the whole season's been about trying to find Bruce's, parents' killer. So Bruce recognized her as Mario's daughter, and he introduced himself. Kat tells her, and Selena's telling her to stay cool, and Ivy starts getting annoyed and says someone framed her father, shot him, and I thought this was interesting. We find out that her mom actually cut her wrist because of this. So Selena asks for Clyde the fence, and she says he's at the factory, and Ivy says Bruce is cute, but Selena hauls him away and tells him not to look back because Ivy is scary. And you can definitely tell, what I thought was interesting about her character was that she is probably one of the first people we have seen that's already a villain. Like, she already has a lot of villain motives. She's very creepy. She's very intimidating. She stares a lot. Like, you can definitely tell that she is going to become a villain. You can already tell that. And I like that the show is hinting at that. I know the show is taking a different approach to things and is its own thing, but you can already tell that she's going to become Poison Ivy. You can just already tell it's going to happen. And I like that the show's hinting at that. So Jim busts into one of Lovecraft's love nests and finds Lovecraft hiding with a gun. Jim says he's going to arrest him for putting a hit out on the kid, and he says the same people came after him. And Lovecraft says he knows too much, and Jim asks who he's scared of, but Lovecraft says he's just a little fish like Jim, and says that those in charge are laughing at them. And Lovecraft says he has flies, and he says that right before the Waynes died, there was a run on their stock, so he started digging. And they hear the door, and the two killers show up. And the woman says she's there for Lovecraft only, and that Jim doesn't have to be hurt. He acts like he's giving him, but then attacks when she gets close. They beat on each other. There's a pretty intense fight scene here. Really well done fight scene, actually. She tells him that's nice. They should do it again sometime. And Jim wakes up on the floor to his phone ring. He gets it, and it's Harvey. And Harvey tells him that Fish got a lead on the kids of the factory, and he says they are headed to talk to a fence named Clyde. And Harvey thanks Fish, and she says he owes her, and they head out, and Jim finds Lovecraft dead in the bathtub and calls into the GCPD. So he has no idea if this guy did it or if he, was the one that did it, and he feels like an idiot because he thought that this was the guy that did it, and now he's wasted time because the guy killed himself. So they'll never know if he did it. So it was a cop-out, but I didn't think this guy did it because this guy seemed pretty, remorseful of what I don't think that this was the guy that did it. I just don't think he was. So Bruce is starting to protest. Selena takes Bruce to see Clyde and asks what she has, and she hands over some small statuary. And he starts to protest since it's stuff from his house, but she shushes him, and Clyde asks where she got it, and she asks if she wants the swag or the story, and she asks for $1,000, and he offers her $50. And Bruce breaks in with estimates of $2K on just one item, and Clyde tells her to relax and says he can make a deal, but she scoops up the stuff and says they'll go elsewhere. He tells her to relax and that he has friends coming over who would love to meet her. He tells her to chill or he'll take Bruce's eye out. The killers roll up and Clyde shoves the kids into a room. And she looks up at the high ceiling with beams across it, and she and Bruce set to work on an escape plan. So they're moving bins and shelves around and start climbing, and the killer pays off Clyde, but he wants to count it first. She asks where the girl is, and he says she's upstairs. She tells Clyde she better be, and Selena makes it to the rooftop windows and tells Bruce to find something heavy. He throws her up something and starts banging on the window release as one of the killers heads up the stairs toward them. And she finally gets the windows released and pulls the chain, cranking the window open. He hears the guy coming, and they hide. The guy looks up at the window, they bash him in the head, and go to hide, and Alfred and Harvey show up and then exchange fire with the criminals. Bruce hears Alfred calling for him and runs to him, and Selena stays hidden. The killers hear sirens and skirt past Selena. Bruce hides between a window, and Jim is there, and Harvey tells him that Alfred ran into the building. Jim shoots one killer that was lurking near mannequins, and Bruce throws anything he can get his hands on at the lady assassin, and she finally gets close enough to pull a gun on him. He tells her that Selena's gone. She tells him to never mistake bravery for good sense. Alfred is there, then takes the assassin down himself. That was awesome. And Bruce tells Alfred, fancy seeing you here. He asks if the boy is alright, and he says he is, and then asks if Alfred is okay. He tells him he's scared of him, and he says if he dies, he'll be jobless since no one employs butlers anymore. And it's a very sweet moment because we really see the chemistry between these two. They really do work well together, I gotta say. Their plot is by far my favorite plot, as I've talked about before, and I love what's going on with them, so it's great to see this, definitely. So Selena stays hidden through all this, and Alfred and Bruce comes downstairs, and Jim sees the boys alive and relieved. And Mayor James chews Jim out and says Lovecraft was a pillar of the community, and asks what he should tell the community. And obviously he's pretty upset, and he says to say he's a crook who was killed by the criminals he did business with. And the mayor insists it will be listed as a suicide. He died by Jim's gun, and the mayor concords a ridiculous story that Den agrees to support. And he says he can't believe the two of them are trying to take him down, says he would throw them both in a bag in the river he can. He tells Jim that he's going down since he didn't know how to walk the line, knows where the edge is, and Jim does not. So Jim stands and tells the mayor that he can kiss his ass, and the mayor walks out, and he knows that he's not getting through to him. He knows that the mayor's just gonna say a bunch of bullshit, so he's done with him. So he later makes a statement about Lovecraft and kind of makes up all this bullshit and says the man killed himself because he was facing trumped-up charges from an overzealous cop that he's going to take care of himself. It's really just a bunch of bullets. It's ridiculous. So Jim then gets a choice, and I thought this was an interesting way that I thought this was interesting what they decided to do here. Basically, Jim gets a very interesting choice, and the choices are he can either quit GCPD or work security at Arkham Asylum. And he decides to take the Arkham gig. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. So he wants to take the Arkham gig. So my thinking is, he's going to find someone in that Arkham Asylum. And the reason he wants to take it is because he wants to find someone that he thinks did it. Because he thinks someone that did it is not dead yet and they're in Arkham Asylum. So Ed comes down and says he's going to write a letter supporting him and asks who she should send it to. And Jones tells him not to worry about it and to take off. And he forces an awkward hug on him. And Harvey tells Jim he should take Ed with him. And Harvey says they need to get a drink soon. Jim takes his box of stuff and he leaves. So then we get the very last scene. At Wayne Manor, Bruce looks at his case files when Selena shows up and tells him his security still sucks, and he says he didn't expect to see her again, and she says she didn't get to say goodbye and didn't want to be rude. She hands him a bag, and he looks inside. It's all the stuff she stole from the house. He thanks her and says she can keep it. She says she wants to keep things honest between them, but wants to keep a silver business card holder. He steps closer to look at it, and she kisses. And I was surprised that she did this. She kisses him and then dashes out the window. So, I thought that was a very good last scene between them. I definitely really enjoyed that. And it's really great that we saw that. So, Alfred comes in, asks who he was talking to, and he says he was just thinking out loud. But he can tell what he agrees it must be what it was and closes the window. He asks Bruce if he wants him to take the bag of stuff and tells Bruce the house seems quiet without her. And Bruce agrees, and I'm thinking that she's gonna move back in because I really like this dynamic. Don't take it away. Do not get rid of Selena. She's the best part of the show, and I really hope that she stays on. And then we get the last scene, which basically Jim shows up to work at the asylum, and he lets in the gates, and you basically see the look on his face of he's thinking of what awaits him. And that's basically how the episode ends. So there's a lot to talk about, and let's just get to it. First of all, I don't think this is the end of Selena and Bruce. I think they're still going to work together. I love the dynamic between them. They're so close now, and I really do love that between Selena and Bruce. I like that we kind of saw more sort of like what Selena's life has been like all her life, and I thought that was interesting that we saw that because it made us connect with Selena more, it made us care more about her character, and I definitely really enjoyed what we saw there with her character, because her character is definitely very interesting because of that, and it makes her character more interesting, and I definitely love that they did that with her character. I really love Selena Kyle overall. Let's talk about Gotham in general. Gotham as a show has been very mixed from the beginning. It's taken a while for them to finally find their niche, but these last 2 episodes, they really did it. I think they know what they want to do now. I think they know what kind of show they want to be, and I think that's a good thing because I've wanted them to find the proper tones, what kind of show they want to be. Those things are important, definitely, and now I think the show knows what they want to do, what kind of directions they want to take, and I'm happy that they're doing that because that's really what I want the show to be. As long as the show finds its niche and knows what it wants to do, then I'm fine with that. If the show, wants to do that, then good. I'm happy that the show's doing that. So, I'm happy that the show's finding its niche and everything. I think that's great. Let's talk about Jim. I think that Jim, I don't know how this is going to work for Jim at the Arkham Asylum. This is going to be interesting. A lot of people are thinking that Harvey and Alfred are going to team up. I could see that happening, definitely. I think that'd be cool. My only real complaint about this season is that we need to see more of Ivy, okay? Ivy clearly is a very interesting character, and we did not see enough of her in this first half of the season, and I really want to see more of her. Honestly, guys, I'm sort of finding that the scenes with the kids are the best scenes. They're amazing actors. They're doing a great job. Their stories are interesting. Their origin stories are great. I do really like all the stuff that's going on with Oswald and everything, but the thing that's interesting me the most is the stuff with the kids. I just find them really interesting. I find the girl that's playing Selena Kyle, she's knocking it out of the park. She's doing an amazing job. She never fails to impress me. She's just doing a great job, in my opinion. She's a great little actress. She's fantastic. Let's talk about Oswald. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Oswald. I mean, definitely Falcone, either Oswald or Falcone is going to reveal to Fish that they know that Lysa is against her. Somehow they're going to, Oswald still has a deal with Lysa. So the question is Lysa going to betray him? Is she going to go about that deal? It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I don't know what's going to happen with Bruce and Selina. They didn't really give us much with that. Now, Jim does not know about the thing with Barbara. I could see why people complain about that, but really, do we really care about Barbara? All season long, everyone has said she is probably she's the next Laurel, basically. Okay, think of how annoying Laurel used to be in Arrow. Not current Laurel. Current Laurel's awesome. I love current Laurel. She's fantastic. But think of Laurel season 2. Yeah. That's basically Barbara now. Barbara's so much more annoying than her, and I'm glad she wasn't in this episode, because we didn't really need to see her in this episode. Renee, I don't care about Renee, I don't care about Chris. I like them overall, but we don't need to see them in this episode. I was glad they weren't in it, and this episode really was just a fun episode. It was fun because you got these 2 kids in danger, you had them in danger, you didn't know what was going to happen to them. I honestly thought they were going to kill someone off in this episode, but they didn't, and I was surprised they didn't. They made it seem like they were going to kill off someone. But I will talk about some things I like that Gotham's doing. Gotham's definitely starting to show that it is its own different thing. I know people have compared it to Smallville, and I will have to agree with that. This show is like Smallville, just like Arrow is like, its own thing, and just like The Flash is its own thing. All DC shows have been its own thing from the beginning, and I like that they do that with these shows, because the thing is, DC has that stupid rule that they can't make jokes and everything, but these shows are like, you know what, fuck it, we'll do what we want, and I like that they're doing that. So, Gotham is a show that's taken a while to develop, but I think it's finally found its niche, and I think it knows what it wants to, and I'm very happy about that. My only other thing is I want to see more of Harvey Dent, definitely. We did not see enough of him. I'm glad he was introduced in the ninth episode, but I want to see what happened here. We still don't know who the Wayne's killer is, so I don't think it's Lovecraft, because Lovecraft killed himself, so I don't think it's going to be Lovecraft or anything like that. But we'll have to see what ends up happening there. You can see that Bruce is starting to become very, get like his strength and everything, start to turn into Batman, things like that. I mean, we saw the thing with him jumping from that building. That really is foreshadowing him becoming Batman. I think that's really what that's trying to foreshadow is when he is going to become Batman, which that's going to be awesome. I don't know when that's going to be, but whenever that is, that's going to be awesome, and I can't wait for that. And I am going to tell you guys something. This is going to be the last episode of Gotham I review individually, and I'm going to explain why. Mondays, if you guys notice, I changed my schedule. If you go to my info on my YouTube page, I changed my schedule. I updated it to mid-season schedule, so you guys can see how crazy my schedule is about to be. I have like 5 shows on Mondays. And you guys don't realize this, I don't have time, really. I have 5 shows on Mondays, and I don't have enough time to review Gotham. So, I'm going to review the season for you guys. I will review Season 1B of Gotham. I'll still watch it, but I'm not going to review the episodes individually. And I'm actually happy about that because I'd rather review the Fosters and the originals, I'd rather review those 2 over Gotham, just like I'm doing with Jane the Virgin right now. Jane the Virgin is a show that I will be reviewing to you when it ends. I don't know when it's ending. I think it's ending the same night that the originals ends. I'll probably review to the day after, but I will have 4 shows that I'm watching live on Mondays, and that is the originals, the Fosters, Eye Candy, and Better Call Saul. I'm watching those, and nothing's coming between them. So, I can't review Gotham, unfortunately, for you guys because of that. I want to, but I'm not going to be able to review Gotham individually anymore, which honestly is fine. Gotham is not one of my favorite shows. I'm just going to be honest, guys. It's not one of my favorite shows. It's probably the weakest comic book show right now, but it is slowly developing into an awesome show. I love what they're going with it. I love the direction they're heading with it. They definitely know what they're doing with it now. It's not like they're, trying to figure out, should we be funny, should we be serious? They know what they want to do with it, and I like it, definitely. We need to get more with Ed, definitely more with Ed. I mean, we had that one thing with him in episode 6. That went away. I don't know where the hell that went, but we need to see more with him, definitely. And more episodes like this is what we need to see of Gotham. I don't care about the cases. I don't care about the random cases. I care about serial drama. That is what I care about. Serial drama that impacts the show. Serial drama is what I want in a show. That's what I want, is serial drama. But let me know what you guys saw of this finale. Was it satisfying? Did it do what you wanted it to do? Are you going to miss Gotham? I'm not going to miss Gotham, honestly. I'm really not. I mean, I'm so much more connected to the originals. You guys know this. You guys know. Think of how long my reviews for the originals are and how long my reviews for Gotham are. Yeah, I'm more connected to the originals, definitely. I do really love the show, but I do really like the show, but I'm not like, oh my god, I can't wait for the show. No, Flash is 10 times better than this show and things like that. But I'll see you guys in my next video. And I'm not saying I don't like the show or anything. I'm just saying that it's not one of my favorite shows, but I do really like reviewing it for you guys. And I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review. It's actually going to be my review for the Flash. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.